RIOT.us, an unrehearsed, hastily assembled program presenting inside opinions on various open-air topics of the day.
Hey, how you doing all? Welcome again to RIOT.us.
Rolling like a cargo train,
Flying like a blimp plane.
feeling like cosmic rain.
One more show
Okay,
tonight.
Well, I hope we don't get into too much trouble tonight. This is RIOT.us coming at you with an open-air cool topic.
Cut. Yes, when I was living at the dormitory at Arizona State University campus at the time, I really missed one of the best sky shows ever in America. My bad,
Well, what was that?
I never got to see the Skycraft lights, whatever that happened back in Phoenix on March 13, 1997.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's the famous Arizona lights. Come on, where were you?
I was in the dorm probably studying, but nevertheless, I never heard of the spectacle in the sky back then, probably because I really didn't even own a TV.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. It may have been the largest unidentified flying object sighting in U.S. history.
As a starting point, this is really known as the Phoenix Lights case, but I want to stress the fact that over 1,000 eyewitnesses across Arizona, they claim to have seen a gigantic V-shaped craft earlier in the sky, in transit really heading south. So it actually started in Henderson where all the reports were started, but so it starts in Henderson, Nevada, which is pretty far from Arizona, to tell you the truth. And it made its way down to Tucson, Arizona, so it went down south.
How fast was it?
And this was a craft that people were seeing, not lights, not orbs. And so it was really reported to law enforcement agencies that MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network at the time. There were many agency calls to them about this thing. That a large silent craft was shaped like a boomerang heading down. From Henderson all the way down to Tucson. Earlier that night, I think. But when it started out in Henderson, Nevada, as I recall, it started out at 7:55 p.m. Okay, so next the same craft was seen in Paulson, Arizona, about like 8:15, and then a little bit north of there, 2 minutes later, it was over Prescott, Arizona, and then down to Phoenix about 8:30. So the craft was seen in Phoenix about 8:30.
Yeah, that's quite a timeline.
I know. I think the reports finally ended in Tucson about 8:45.
So you're saying were these lights or was it a craft?
Well, according to eyewitness reports, both. It's actually both. But the lights are the description given to several orbs that were seen over Phoenix proper around 10 p.m. that night, not 8:30.
Oh, okay.
So that's when the orbs were.
You got that.
They thought they were flares.
I did read the official explanation, and those 10 p.m. orbs seen about an hour and a half after the craft sighting over Phoenix were flares. Now that's per a government report, but for when I followed up watching the video shots taken by eyewitnesses of this event, of those orbs, they were in a V shape, but the orange lights didn't seem to be falling or deviating with any kind of
They kind of like stayed up there.
Yeah, they were hanging up there. Flares fall.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of strange because come to think of it, they did not look like flares at all. I mean, they could have been though. I mean, you never know. So kind of just to recap, the craft was seen in Phoenix at 8:30 p.m. and the orbs were seen about an hour and a half later at 10 p.m. This was like two separate events.
Yeah, well, Brian, there are many witnesses that have gone on public record just to say, that this was an out-of-world, spectacle.
Yeah.
Not so much the orbs that were at 10 p.m., but the craft that was seen earlier that night, were in fact, yes, two separate events. So we got the orbs, we got the craft, and now we have the Hale-Bopp comet. which was an incident actually, which was actually scheduled, that everyone was actually looking at the sky at that night.
Yeah.
Just to you know, get a glimpse of the hell.
That's
What a coincidence when we got 3 incidents.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would imagine that our Air Force or military, if they were dropping these flares from an aircraft, the public would have seen these jets fly by.
I mean, jets are pretty loud.
Yeah, that's according to their official statement. You know, that these were flares dropped over Phoenix that night by military jets.
Cut. Roll.
Okay, let me kind of surmise what we have here. Thousands of eyewitnesses from Henderson to Tucson claiming to have seen a silent, unknown flying craft. It was in the shape of a boomerang, and that was spotted at 8:55 p.m.
Okay.
Estimated. Check this out. It was estimated to be the size of an aircraft carrier.
Okay.
So you know, that's pretty big.
I
It was
would
flying
say so.
across flying across Arizona down to Tucson on this date of March 13th, 1997. So, you know, why was this tagged the Phoenix Lights by the media? Well, I think it's because of the big eyewitness count that came from there. I mean, it pretty much went over that whole basin, that valley. Plus, the media had footage of the orbs, but only the orbs.
Right.
So that was reported by the news, not the craft.
Okay.
Our news coverage seems to be really kind of one-sided.
Well, it
regarding
does.
this matter.
It is one-sided. If they
Absolutely.
don't have like film footage of the craft, you know, earlier the night, they're not going to publish a news story.
They're
about that.
they're not gonna report that to the public.
Right. They don't have any material.
Yeah, they want to
So,
have.
you know,
Let's see some.
I can
action.
agree with that. Right.
Okay.
But you know, that's our business too. But you know, this was really an event, though. It wasn't just a sighting. It was really an event. You know, over a major city at that, Phoenix. Well, and over other cities.
Sure.
But
Phoenix was a big population.
it just kind of happened to go over Phoenix on its way down to Tucson. So the major news is really controlled, in my opinion. You know, it's really censored, not like us. But I mean, why report on real world UFO sightings when you've got like a guy like Charlie Sheen to talk about? You know.
Oh, the news agencies. Yeah, he's been in the news lately, and you know.
Poor guy.
I really like Charlie.
So do I.
But anyway,
Scott.
I've researched several news agencies, and I did discover that this was reported on TV. Of course, it was on the internet as well.
Right. It was.
And now I am questioning to myself why the public wasn't warned by the military about basically these objects flying directly over their city.
I think we're talking
if this
about.
was like Washington D.C. and there was unidentified flying objects over there,
Yeah.
they would have said, "Hey, you know, everybody, this is what's happening," and to keep everybody calm because you know people don't want any terrorist activity.
Okay. You know, I really think we're talking about civilian air security at this point.
Yeah,
you know, whatever it is up there.
It could have been an attack, you know, and that's what they're, you know, we're all geared up for these days because of the, you know, what occurred, you know, on 9/11.
There's a point, you know, that you know the FAA actually tracks down, you know, aircraft that's going around, but you know they won't release those records, of course. So we're not going to get any kind of real report of the craft early enough unless someone can like subpoena those records. That would be nice, but you know the government is shrouded.